Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Sunless Skies, here in King's Idle Station. As exuberant as an old pirate den of the Caribbean, Pan Station teems with thieves and merchants, smugglers and evangelicals of inventive new cults. In a grove nearby is the seat of the Cypress King, who has little power. We could go visit Cypress King. Pan has no ruler, but it does have a king. That's interesting. I'm a little torn on recruiting the feline eccentric. Here's the thing. If we're thinking about the game world as a sort of a realistic place, then obviously it would be dangerous to bring a bunch of cats on board the closed train where we have a bunch of rats who are very important to the operation of that train. In most video games, the fact that she is feline would just be a character trait, and it wouldn't actually matter. However, I'm concerned that in this game it totally might. So I think I'm going to leave her ass at this station. And hopefully we're not missing out on anything there. But I have very strong feelings about our ratty revengers, and I don't want them to get you know? I guess let's check out the station first. We'll go visit the Cypress King after we maybe find out a little bit more about him. Several factions have claimed fragments of the ruins, but the central dock is a neutral ground. It heaves with crowds, and the air is filled with cries and music and raving and laughter. Okay. Sundered remains of a cathedral of the heavens, huh? Well, our aunt was trying to meet somebody named February. We do... Oh, interesting. Engineers can be found among the dockside throngs, but be warned, they are few, of variable skill, and even more variable diligence. So repairing our train is not going to be as easy as it once was. We have an Eleutherian mystery. Let's hold on to it. We don't need a half-damage repair just yet. Maybe we're going to have to actually be a little careful here. Alright, well, let's help our aunt out. She's been nothing but useful to us. Perhaps we could be useful to her. I've sent back the card. She's expecting us, your aunt says, leading you through the tumbled ruin of Pan, limned by pale moonlight. I can't remember what voice I was doing for her. She's sending a coach. We're to wait here. Your aunt rummages in her handbag as you wait. Boiled sweet, she says hopefully. It looks as if it could crack your jaw. I'm assuming this is like ribbon candy. Well, suit yourself. The only sound as you wait is the crunch of the sweet. And then, slowly and silently, a black carriage appears through the mist. The masked driver bids you enter the cabin. Your aunt does not hesitate to get in. Come along, she says impatiently, beckoning you inside. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. She sounds like Robin Hood. We'll find a good voice for her. The sedan leaves you on the crooked street of Winter's Reside, in front of a severe townhouse. The door is open and the lights are on. A handsome woman waits in the doorway to greet you. Her smile is wintry, and her eyes pale as new frost. I got your card. I'm willing to talk. Come inside. She attended the St. Dunstan's rendezvous. She must be able to tell you what was discussed. Well, yeah, be able to, probably. I'm concerned that might not be our only problem. Gathering information. I'm afraid I can't help much, old thing, February says as she ushers you into her parlor. White moonlight floods its great bay windows. I think I was doing something more high-pitched and nasally for the aunt, maybe? Anything you can tell us, your aunt says, before gasping, Dearie me, almost forgot. She fishes in her enormous handbag and produces the bottle of brandy. For old time's sake. How lovely, February murmurs. I'll fetch some glasses. She leaves the two of you alone. Your aunt immediately starts rummaging under the cushions. She's hiding something. Yeah, is that where she's going to keep it? I was very junior at the time, practically a secretary. February's voice floats through. Your aunt stands up straight as February returns, carrying 3 glasses, and looking very extremely guilty. February hands you each a glass of your aunt's brandy. London did approach us about building an unclear bomb. We had an enemy in common, the masters of old London. The Calendar Council helped make them an unclear bomb. We used it to blow up the sun. She shrugs. But that's ancient history. Not sure why you bothered me with all this. Still, shall we raise a toast? To old acquaintances never forgot. The brandy is amber as the death of a son. Your aunt's eyes are on February. February raises her brandy glass like a conductor preparing her orchestra. To the end of all tyrannies, to alliances forged for the breaking of chains. You know, it sounds like February and I might just get along. Your aunt nods and begins to sip her brandy. Her expression is worrying, hazardous almost. Seeing her drink, February follows suit. Hey, that's worrying that February waited. I'm gonna feign drinking. I'm pretty good at misleading people. Better safe than sorry. You raise the glass to your lips and make as if to imbibe. Condensation from the glass drips onto your chin, and then you lower your brandy. Does this taste a little off to you? February asks, and then keels over. Your aunt pours the remainder of her brandy onto the floor. Dearie me, she's even more susceptible than I remembered. Very clever of you not to drink. Help me have a rummage through her papers, will you? You spend a frantic few minutes searching February until you discover a folio concealed in her left boot. This'll do, your aunt says. Now, let's make sure we're not seen leaving. Okay, how did that... Oh, right, it was the brandy that she brought. Well then, if I had remembered... somehow I'd already forgotten. If I had remembered that was the brandy that our aunt brought with her, I would have been even less likely to drink it. I don't trust her at all. She seems to be on our side, but she's definitely a dangerous person. Well, we've stolen a thing, we gained more terror. I'm a little worried about our terror here in this place. With those dowsers, it seems like each of the loot options gains you terror, and they don't fight you if you have your light off, but if you have your light off, you're also gaining more terror than you would otherwise. So it seems like we're going to have to either figure out some kind of long-term solution for terror in this place, or we're going to have to kill a lot of dowsers but not loot them, I guess. It's not like the way you want to be doing things. Let's see if anybody will join up. We could use a little bit of a top-off here. The station is busy, but finding trained, obedient crew among the individualists of Pan is a challenge. The higher your hearts, the more reliable this will be. Well, that's cheap enough. It is not the hour of leaving. You've managed to identify a handful of crew you think won't disappoint, abandon, or murder you. Well, I mean, to be fair, I really couldn't fit a lot of people in my hand. It would be a pretty small number. Okay, let us return to the station, and other matters. It's going to warn us before we hit any checks that would end the ambition, right? We can click this safely. The Queen described the Cloak of the Lion as lost. How does she expect you to find it in Pan's tangled vastness? We're assuming that it is tangled and vast. We haven't really seen that much of it yet. None of the denizens of Pan have heard of the Cloak of the Lion. Your questions elicit blank looks. With little recourse, you sit upon a half-tumbled wall and ruminate on the Martyr King's cup. For a moment, you hold it in your mind so clearly you can almost see it hovering before you, a goblet of coal-black stone. Glancing up, you notice there are 2 moons in the sky. The Xanthus moon, pallid and distant, constructed by the Eagle's Empyrean, and another, larger, unidentified. With sudden surety, you know where to go. You mount your warhorse and ride off under doubled moonlight. So we also have constructed a fake moon, but also maybe there's a real moon. And then here's the thing, we don't know for sure that this other moon is actually in the sky at all, because we're having some problems with actually at all. I'm nervous about our quest. You ride until your destrier is sheened with sweat, forcing you to stop by a stream and dismount. As it drinks, you unbuckle your armor and rest in the shade of an apple tree. An excellent horse. You ride it too hard. A wizened old hermit has appeared beside your horse, stroking its heaving flanks. You seek the Cloak of the Lion, yes? I can guide you to its location, if you confess your sins. Well, I am not allowed to confess my sins, because I don't have a savage secret. Oh no. Well, we can certainly find one of those. Let's have a chat with this hermit for now, though. Where did he come from? How did he know what we seek? Is he actually there, or entirely of my imagination? Something is bothering you about this, not to mention the twin moons above. Mirrors high enough to maybe shake the illusion. Oh, failure, that's going to gain us some terror, I bet. I am merely a wanderer and dreamer, like yourself, says the hermit, a twinkle in his eye. But I know a quester for the cup when I see one, my friend, and there is only one reason a quester would journey to this part of the world. As the hermit addresses your questions, you find your concern ebbing away. We could take another swing at that. Oh no, it's not going to work like that one. Alright. We'll come back. I'll come back and confess some sins when I can think of a few. And there's not anything else for us to do, really? Oh yeah, we still have to visit the king. Pan has no ruler, but it does have a king. The position is not a powerful one, nor secure. Their only real authority is to rule on any disagreements that can't be settled at the forum. During the Hour of Thorns, anyone can challenge the king and, if successful, take the crown. Wow, that's a system. In a Burgundy grove, shaggy with vines and moss, the current Cypress King resides, none other than January of the Revolutionaries' Calendar Council. Ex-academic, anarchist recruiter, lover of crosswords. She wears a mask of two bearded faces, one looking forward, the other backward. Ah, so the predators can't sneak up behind her. I get it. I see how this works. Hey, the relay station by which I entered the region was broken. I guess it's a good thing our character's observant, because I don't know that. How do we leave? How could that happen? You are informed that the Eagles Empyrean, London's nominal allies in opening the path to the sky, maintain a transit gate that leads back to the Reach. The Empyrean lies somewhere in Eleutheria, beyond the Belt of Midnight. Huh. Okay. Well, we do have to find the Eagles Empyrean. We definitely need to go there for something. I don't remember what exactly, but something. Storytelling is forbidden in Pan, and one of the duties of the Cypress King is to trade mysteries for Skyfarers' stories of other places before they can be inflicted on the city at large. That's interesting. So I can consider bringing reports to the king, only because we don't have any reports. What text happens here? Though the dockside businesses use sovereigns for convenience, for most other purposes, mysteries are a more valuable currency in Pan. It is a city of secrets and of initiations. Okay, so we can get Eleutherian mysteries by turning in port reports, and then we can use those to repair our ship. And to do other things. We can exchange scraps of ancient knowledge for mysteries. The king may be able to interpret our text for us. I wonder if we have any other use for these. I think let's hold on to them as ancient knowledge for now. Yeah, until we have a better grasp of whether they're useful in that form. And if we had 5 savage secrets and a moment of inspiration and some crew, we could get a searing enigma. We don't need one of those right now. Alright, well, let's get a whole lot of fuel. Maybe even more supplies, because we're definitely going to be sending the cavi out, right? Actually, maybe even one more. Okay, bank. What do we actually need? I know we took on a couple of prospects. What were they? Seeds to Aklis and souls to Caduceus. So we need 5 jumbles of souls and 5 sacks of verdant seeds. Okay, we can put one of these away. Put all of these... Oh, that's a little unresponsive. And all of these away. And then we get out some more jumbles of souls. Alright, we have 7 slots left in the hold for whatever we may find. So we know that Aklis, a battle-scarred youth, waters a patch of soil. Nothing yet, they say, smiling. When I was a ring breaker on Aklis, we tried starting a garden in the marsh. Didn't take. Could have been beautiful, though. I'm sure Sigrid would love to try again. This is a place we need to go. I don't think we have any quests leading us to Caduceus, but we do have a quest leading us to here. This is east-southeast of Pan, and Caduceus is south-southeast of Pan, so hopefully we can find them in the same trip here. And I think we're just going to go. It looks like there's no way for us to lower our terror anymore, which is definitely worrying. Actually, do we want to buy any stuff? Any stuff for the train? Veils at 75, iron at 75, all the new stuff requires higher stats than we have. We're not that far off of 75 veils, though. Nor 75 iron, honestly. Alright, stuff to keep in mind. I guess let's get a move on. Can you hear the pipes, Captain? A crewman asks, their eyes bright. Pan's a-calling. Yeah, don't follow the sound of pipes, please. Okay, so that's a dowser. I'm going to turn off my light. We're going to gain terror more quickly for a moment, but we're going to just slide past the dowser without getting into a fight. That's the plan. It's pretty well lit around here for the moment anyway. Oh good, even more crockery. So I mean, we have no idea. East, southeast. Probably like this way-ish is my guess. Where'd that dowser go? I'm going to turn the light back on for now. I might have to rebind the light to something a little bit more convenient, because right now it's L. I'm steering with WASD, and I have a hand on the mouse. So L is not, like, the best button. Okay, that guy is... Oh. There's a thing we could fight. Not a thing we have to fight, to be clear. But a thing we can fight. Ah, well, that's a shame. No, 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 no! Ah! Right, I should have planned a little bit more for moving forward in that way, directly toward the Scrivener. I mean, I'm messing it up pretty badly. It probably does not have a whole lot of fight left. That was a pretty good series of hits. I bet one more good direct hit. Ah, darn it. We almost got out of that without taking any damage at all. Ooh, right in the face. Do we have the ability to lower terror by, like, blowing these things up? Nope. Alright, well, let's recover sheaves of parchment. I think I care more about moments of inspiration than I do about sovereigns at this moment. The crew leaned from the outer hatches with boat hooks and nets, swiping at the fluttering pages like frenzied butterfly catchers. Soon they've accumulated a small pile of parchment, dense with pictographic script. Carry it to your cabin. That's a shame. We got a vision instead of a moment. Crew have lowered their voices. No one speaks louder than a whisper. Okay, even more hours. That kind of looks like a big eye, doesn't it? That's weird. Probably not significant. Probably I'm just spooking myself. I mean, obviously, that would be the first time that's happened. I'm not prone to flights of fancy or generally feeling terrified. Boy, that's an unpleasant sound, isn't it? I sort of want to fire at one of these things just to find out what their deal is, but also... terror's pretty high. Maybe we shouldn't do anything to provoke horrifying experiences. Let's start sending out the cabbie. We're pretty far away from Pan now. I'm sure we'll have a hard time finding the... something out to our east, but first, this. Sure, we're gonna have a hard time finding the docks without its help. We could strip her for repairs, we could try to sneak in and steal some stuff. It seems like repairs are gonna be hard to come by here. We should probably take these options aggressively. Oh good, ominous music. That is the one thing we were missing. Oh, is the thing I discovered a dock, maybe? Oh, what is going on down there? The Rat Brigade whispers amongst itself. Words like Valkyrie and Nightingale. Yeah, whatever it is, it's right on the other side of this. It totally could be a dock. Mayhap we have discovered something already. Please let it be a dock. Yes, excellent. What are we looking at here? Okay. Hey, that was easy. Maybe we're not going to die horribly here after all. You disembark onto a soggy wooden platform barely supported by the marsh mud below. It leads past several squalid huts and the hulls of scavenged engines to the warmth of a marketplace on wooden stilts. Nearby, what remains of an ancient monastery just holds on against the ravages of time and the swampy ground below. Something is going on down the other side of the monastery. Fire flickers. Treachery carries on the wind. A woman smoking a cigarette watches from the shadows, unaware of your presence, as a group of grizzled skyfarers attempts to force the monastery's doors. Unlike the crumbling stone, these are made of solid, new metal, and more than up to the task of repelling the attack. However, with every blow against them, the monastery itself seems to shudder. Dust rains from high up. Stones creak. It will not take much more before something gives. Yeah, it doesn't matter how good your doors are if the hinges break, right? Well, this seems like not our problem, and I think Sister Patel is definitely a stay back and try to understand what's going on kind of person. She probably gets into a lot of trouble and has found that having some information about what is going on in the world before you get into trouble can aid you in getting out of the trouble with all of your fingers. Let's stay back and try to figure out what's going on here. Hojo Toho! Hojo Toho! The war cry echoes through the march. Urchins, ring breakers from old London, from the look of them, surge at the attackers, armed with broomsticks with sharp objects taped on the end, colander helmets, and cardboard armor. I probably did this too deep for urchin voices. In the name of the Valkyrie, they shout, launching their attack. For Sigrid! They swiftly rout the attackers. The woman with the cigarette is long gone, leaving behind nothing but the smell of expensive ash. As there are odd jobs available, the Devils of Carillon claim to be experts in the assessment and improvement of the soul. They would describe yours as disappointingly clear, almost transparent. That's a strange thing for us to suddenly be told. Is my soul gonna matter here? Rotting wooden huts on stilts stretch up out of the marshland, connected by rickety walkways and gently swaying rope bridges. Red paper lanterns line the paths, offering just enough flickering light to avoid unfortunate tumbles into the dark mud below. Ringbreaker urchins in colander helmets and tea-tray armor stand to slack attention, longing for a little trouble. Well, let's write a report real quick here. It's a small place, it won't take long. Everything here seems to revolve around tea and spice, and a special blend made in the monastery that nobody you speak to appears to have tasted. Well, we are not worthy of Midnight's favor, they all tell you through unsmiling faces, before offering you a special deal on some other blend or incense that they just happen to have. Huh, that's strange. Well, let's start by visiting the Court of Tea and Spices. I know the Clayman wanted to come here. Clouds of rich scents hang in the air. Though the market is small, it is bustling with both London and native Eleutherian traders. Each cramped stall and barrow is piled high with the region's finest tea leaves, opiates, salts, and spices. Am I wrong? Yeah, maybe I was wrong. You know what? I think they wanted to go to Murgatroyd's Taste of Albion, actually. Even out here, you can get a mug. Even out here, you can get a mug of Murgatroyd's finest. Although one of the more professional-looking barrows in the market, the Murgatroyd family's special tea blends have gained little traction. Proprietress Amberly Murgatroyd glares at you from behind a slender cigarette holder, twitching at the inconvenience of your presence. I will absolutely pay to let our clay conductor spend time with Amberly's assistants. Just don't let him give them any ideas, Amberly tells you. The clay conductor requests that they sing for him. The other claymen look reluctant, embarrassed even, but one with shale skin steps forward. It has been too long, but we should still sing. Following his lead, the claymen launch into a mournful, hollow aria that resonates within your ribcage. Even Amberly Murgatroyd shivers as the last notes die away. The clay conductor is quiet for a long minute. At last, he gives his verdict. No. He stomps away back toward your engine. Well, that was worth my 300 sovereigns. Okay, let's ask about Midnight's favor. This is the thing I'm most curious about right now. Oh, we are not worthy of Midnight's favor, Amberly snaps, her tone suggesting that she's parroting someone else. Haven't touched the stuff. Can't wait to get back to Albion and never hear about it again. When I'm running the business... She catches herself. Well, I'll have my sights set rather higher than beverages. Okay, what exactly might you mean about that? What you mean by that? The Murgatroyd Company is known for more than tea and crackers. There is little you cannot learn at their salons, for the right price. Amberly looks at you with disdain. Oh, please. Even if I had time for Father's Spymaster games, exactly how much do you think one overhears on the edge of nowhere? She takes a long, pointed drag from her cigarette. Honestly, if you must waste someone's time with such nonsense, go annoy my sister Melusine. I think we stashed her somewhere in the Reach. Her and her ridiculous inventions. Yeah, I'm sure she has nothing better to do than listen to you. Okay, well, my experience has been that that is not a very helpful avenue. Alright, well, let's speak to her about whatever else she might want to talk about. It is useful to just get people talking and listen. Most people really, really want to talk about what is going on with them. Are you here to buy? Amberly glances around, looking for a distraction. If you're not here to buy, I don't know why you're here. Unless... She sizes you up. Perhaps... Okay, this sounds like an opportunity in the offing. You know how I love opportunities. Amberly lights a fresh cigarette. I'm sure you've heard of Midnight's Favor. It's all anyone wants around here. Well, I have plans to deal with that. Were you to assist me when the moment presents itself, well, I would be most grateful, in a most profitable way, for us both. I like the idea that she's just, like, leaning on this really hard, because she's used to dealing with people who are so unobservant, so oblivious, that she has to basically, like, shout at them to get them to hear what she's saying. Okay, hey, what's the deal with all of those small children? That little scrot and her infernal playmates. Amberly shakes her head. I'd blame the parents if she'd had any. No discipline. A few damn good spankings never did me any harm. Today's youth could do with getting to know the back end of a slipper. I just look at my sister Melusine. Yeah, it really seems to have not affected your demeanor at all. Should we buy some tea? Only 90 sovereigns. Yeah, sure. At these prices, it's no wonder the stall is so quiet, but 90 sovereigns isn't that much to us. It might be the case that Sister Patel is enjoying having the ability to, like, throw a little money around. This is kind of a new experience for her. Amberly takes the money and calls for one of her claymen. He scoops out the tea onto its caddy using his bare hands and seals it tight with a blob of wax. Okay, so that is just a single caddy of tea. That's a bad price for that. I wonder if it's hard to come by here. Or if that's just, bad prices. Alright, well... This would be a good place to stock up. So, with otherworldly habits, 320 sovereigns. Wow, that's a price. Why don't we have a quick look around the tea barrows before we leave? Many of the spice merchants have tattoos on their left cheek, denoting what they sell. The Londoners present have yet to adopt the tradition. Yo, what happens if you decide you want to change industries? Although this port is mostly famed for its homegrown Midnight's Favor, it is quickly becoming a trade hub for every flavor and blend of tea you could possibly wish for. Customers don't brew them, but bite into the leaves and lick samples off their fingers. I wonder if that's actually an effective way to do that. I don't know that we need a bunch of tea. Let's head back to the market. So before we do anything else, let's hit the bazaar and drop off these seeds. That's not a bad price. Aklis is a thick, poisonous marsh, lit only by the cancerous light of its sun. Still, the urchins of the port plant the seeds. One nicks a finger in the process. A drop of blood falls on the gray soil. A green shoot creeps up into the air. Well, I'm hoping that they didn't notice that happening, because that's not going to lead anywhere good. A couple of Eleutherian mysteries for that is kind of nice. And we could help ourselves to some less-than-legal armaments. You know how I love armaments, legal or otherwise. Here at the Midnight Lumberyard, okay, we can buy fuel and supplies, which is lovely. Let's do a little bit more exploration here. Let us enter the House of Silks. A sleepy warmth oozes through the curtains. Admission is free. What awaits inside is negotiable. The curtains part with a sickly sweet breath of incense. Velvet wraps the inside of the hut like a fine chocolate box, with silk curtains delicately hanging down to provide translucent privacy for guests. Behind, the shadows of wealthy traders lie in the embrace of soft, well-plumped cushions, gently sipping from bronze hookah pipes until their eyes and troubles are somewhere else entirely. I don't know that I want to... We don't know what's actually in these pipes. But this will reduce our terror, won't it? Terror reduction is at a premium right now. We lost a little bit of terror when we docked here, because you lose terror the first time you hit a port. We will not be so lucky in the future. It's only Pan that will periodically reduce our terror for free. So we probably ought to do this as much as we can, but maybe let's get an idea what's in these pipes first. The hooded proprietor keeps to itself at the back of the house. A particularly large hookah pipe delivers smoke into the darkness of its cloak. A gramophone beside it quietly plays a Bach concerto. I wonder if Mr. Pipes is going to be the same species that Mr. Penny's was. A serving boy returns, bowing apologetically. Mr. Pipes is relaxing and has no interest in either chitter or chatter. If you have business, you may present it to one of the staff. Otherwise, his master encourages you to avail yourself of the facilities. Alright, well, let's try that a little bit. So it's only 10 sovereigns, and we lost... Okay, we lost 5 terror, I think. It's not bad. You settle down next to a fellow captain, a tea trader from the Blue Kingdom, still smoking through her death mask, and a figure who prefers to keep their identity private. There is little conversation. The incense is strong, and each breath from the hookah only serves to wrap the world in fresh, warm layers of cotton wool and half-remembered dreams. Alright, listen. Do as I say, not as I do. Smoke your hookah responsibly, but we're gonna really, jam on this thing here. Yeah, that is not a bad price at all for total removal of our terror. And we are absolutely going all the way to 0 here. 3 more. It is nice to not really have to worry about money anymore. Okay. Now, I suppose, let's ask about Midnight's Favor. Let's see if they know anything more about it here. The serving girl shakes her head. We are not worthy of Midnight's favor. Perhaps, in the distance, her cloaked master raises an arm, or at least a sleeve, just a little. A summons. Excuse me, please. I'm a little disappointed. I was curious what was going to follow, perhaps. Well, we're going to keep looking around. An old, mostly picked-apart locomotive acts as the ring-breaker urchin's kip and base of operations. 2 of them guard it sleepily. I wonder if we'll get any unique options for dealing with them, based on the fact that we were in a similar urchin gang. One of the urchins jabs at you with her weapon, a broomstick with a knife on the end. Friend or foe? I am... friend? I imagine I'd be pretty annoyed if I were in her position with somebody who just pushed past, and annoyed plus spear probably equals bad thing for us, so let's say we're a friend. I come as a friend, at least. The urchins salute. Good, good. Enter, friend. This broken-down engine has been comprehensively gutted to serve as the ringbreaker's home and base. Filthy hammocks stretch between metal bars, most full of snoring urchins. Others sit around decorating tea tray armor with bright paints, or sparring playfully with wooden sticks. Alright, I do feel like we should meet this Sigrid. Captain's cabin door leads to one of the few rooms that hasn't been gutted. A series of names have been scratched into it and then scratched out. The only one still readable says Sigrid. Enter, barks a high-pitched voice. Sigrid Spite's daughter, Valkyrie of the Ringbreakers, and the closest thing this port has to law. Despite being the youngest Ringbreaker to be declared Valkyrie, Sigrid has the glare of a seasoned general and the scars to back it up. She sits sternly behind a mahogany desk almost as tall as she is, carefully engrossed in a copy of Sun Tzu's The Art of War. It is a show of military diligence only slightly undercut by it being upside down. Listen, there are probably drawings, you can understand drawings when they're upside down. Hey, what's up with everything here? I just have so many questions. Someone's gotta, right? Sigrid's face is a mixture of pride in her job and irritation at being questioned. Now, don't just be thinking we're a bunch of kids. You hear the Valkyrie? Greatest warrior in old London, she was. Yeah, well, in her name, we kicked out the old bugger what brought us to the wilderness to clean out his chimneys or whatever, and now we've a home. Can't blame us for wanting to protect it, right? Even if it is a bit damp in bits. Of course, she adds, can't stay here forever. Rule 1 of the Ringbreakers. When you're old enough, that's when it's time to go out and find fortune out there, and find others to fill their places. All welcome. Just gotta swear by our code and they're welcome to grab a hammock. At least, as long as they don't fart too much in their sleep. An appropriately childish concern. I really do feel like our character should have some unique options here, given that this is like exactly how we grew up. Alright, let's ask about the monastery. It dominates the port, but stands apart from it. Never been in myself, Sigurd admits. Them bohemian types in town are said to know a way, but it ain't through the front door. Anyway, without the tea from the place, we'd not have much of a home. Reckon we'll keep defending it. A Valkyrie don't need thanking. Okay, so if we could up our Bohemian Association, I'm sure that would help. I don't have access to my officer panel right now, though. Let's see if she knows anything about Midnight's favor. My guess is that we're not going to get anything new out of her, though. Yeah, like them snooty Bohemian types would let us try the stuff, Sigurd shrugs. No big problem. Nothing wrong with juice. Not unless you drink it after brushing your teeth. Just don't brush them, that's what I say. Probably bad for him anyway, working them over like that. I have heard that most people do brush too hard, and actually are doing a little bit of damage. Okay, let's ask about the War of Midnight. That's a grandiose name for the thing that we just saw. Sigurd's face darkens. Shouldn't have let that Amblerly Murgatroyd get her boots dry after striding into port. We know it's her trying to destroy the midnight tea so everyone will buy Daddy's old scrapings instead. But she's tricksy. And with them claymen of hers always around, we can't go accidentally pushing her off into the marsh. But we'll get her, oh yeah. Okay, well, you seem very busy with your book, so I'm just gonna back out of the cabin slowly. Training with the urchins apparently is a very difficult role. Their equipment may smack of the schoolyard, but they take their fighting seriously. I kind of want to take this role, like it's not that bad, and probably the penalty for failing it won't be super harsh, right? Let's give it a try. Oh, or we'll just hit it. You wield your broom proudly, fending off attacks with ease, and returning them as stern but educational bops to the ringbreakers' heads. By the end, they reluctantly agree that for a grown-up, you're not entirely rubbish, and maybe a bit lucky. A certain silence falls. They seem to be expecting something. Okay, shoot. I don't remember. I think that the first and third syllables were ho. I don't think it's the middle one. Hojo Hoto or Hoto Hojo? Shoot. It was not deafening, it was stirring, right? I think it was the stirring battle cry of Hojo Hoto. The urchins snigger to themselves. That probably wasn't what they had in mind, damn it. I've failed. Well, I'm very curious where this goes. Let's try it again. I am also curious what happens if you fail. So let's find out. The ringbreakers come at you with much speed and little mercy. Though they wield only regular broomsticks, no sharp objects on these ones, for training purposes, they still hurt. Several minutes of being smacked around the legs later, you are forced to yield. Okay, that's not even really a price. Let's just do this again until we hit the roll again, and then we'll try the other battle cry. Boy, we sure are failing this a bunch of times in a row for the, for the percentage it is presenting to us. Okay. Hojo Toho? No, let's try this one. No? Really? Okay, I guess I seriously misremembered. Well, let's get beaten up with broomsticks a little bit more. We can just go smoke off all the terror anyway. Okay, Hojo Toho. They chorus in response. You sense you have earned no small amount of respect here. Eventually. Well, probably doing it again is not going to really do anything. I'm kind of curious, though, if maybe we might get asked a different question if we did it again. Yeah, sure. Let's try it again. Okay, we do just get the same question here. Alright. Well, I don't know what that's done for us, but let's hope we find out. A series of iron bars have been welded into the stern, ready to hold anyone who might do the port harm. Let's go see who they've imprisoned. A mix of angry, doleful, and drunk eyes stare back at you from the darkness. All the prisoners have been stripped to their underthings. The ring-breakers do their best to keep them happy by regularly throwing them boiled sweets. It doesn't appear to be working. Okay, and we can't interact with them at any way at all, so I guess let's head back to the market. Hopefully they'll remember that I am eventually capable of remembering a battle cry. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Alright, well, let's check out the prominent statue. It sits in the middle of the dock, untouched by chalk scribbles or damage. A couple of tattooed spice merchants lean against it, quietly eating their lunch. What is it a statue of? The mysterious founder, it can be assumed. If not, someone equally important to their market port. They look somewhat more imp than man, with a flag on their lapel that matches the crest on the nearby wreck of the Vigilant Nightingale. Peering closely, there is a plaque between the figure's feet. Someone has scratched out all the details. Perhaps the subject themselves, preferring to maintain a sense of mystery, or plausible deniability. Well, that's very curious. That said, I bet learning who it is a statue of probably would not help us. Let's walk down to the monastery and see if we can find our way in. Hold on a moment. First of all, train. What's up with train? We need to keep our hearts at 25, our iron at least 50. Okay, but I think we can swap stuff around as long as our stats are good before we leave the port. I think we'll be fine. Could we push up our affiliation with Bohemia here? We have 1 point available from you. You guys are definitely villainy. Okay, we could at most push our affiliation up 1 point of Bohemia. Let's go ahead and do it. I clicked on her instead of... There we go. Perhaps not. Sorry, let me get back to what I was doing. Let's walk down to the monastery. Path is narrow and poorly lit. Not many venture this way. Petrified veins run down the side of this ancient structure. 2 giant featureless doors block the crumbling entrance, far too large for any human to open. The metal is unfamiliar but resilient. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said of the monastery itself. The ages have not been kind. You could demand entrance. You need soul flaws 4, but I have only 3. They say the monastery opens only for those undergoing great torment. Rumors are less clear on exactly how they know this. Soul flaws, huh? Alright, let's swap him back on. Yeah, return to the market. So yeah, briefly, we were unable to mount one of our things, but we're good now, so I wish that would go away. If I uninstall and then reinstall something, will it? Nope. Okay, well, I have no idea how to deal with that then. What else is there to do? I guess we could head into the marshes. Is that a good idea? It is time. Well, then I guess we ought to. Wouldn't, warns the older of the two. Nothing out there but plants wanting to eat your face off and water what drives you potty. But they show no interest in stopping you. The marsh beckons. The lights of the port slowly fade. Beyond lies a forested gray swamp, misted over and filled with leafless black trees that claw at the air. Few venture out here, except to gather incense from what they call Aklis's garden. There are no maps to it, and many do not return. But your head is clear. The path ahead looks manageable. You have nothing to fear. Yeah... I sort of do want to go out there. And again, we know we can just burn off any terror that we accumulate. Let's go have a look. The swamp slurps at your boots. The mist makes it impossible to gauge any real direction. You might have been turned around 100 times and never known it. Head towards the north, follow the water currents, or just choose a direction at random. So we're out here looking for incense from the garden. It might be the case that they made their garden wherever the water is flowing to, but aside from that, I don't know that we know enough to pick any of these. I guess let's follow the water currents? Time passes. Black trees loom through the mists, their clawed branches rattling despite the lack of any noticeable wind. Stone blocks like gravestones are scattered everywhere, the purpose of their memorials lost to time. The mud bubbles. The air here is poison. Onwards and forwards, in search of secrets. Close your eyes and choose a direction, or stick to the water. I think let's stick to the water. Any garden's gotta be by the water, right? Time passes. With no sun to guide, navigation is almost impossible. From here, you cannot even see Eleutheria's black sun looking down. A family of will-o'-the-wisps dance around a fairy circle, awaiting their next foolhardy volunteer. You're starting to feel a little fuzzy. I'm worried about that. Let's continue a little bit more. Stick to the water. You climb down a hill to see the ground writhing. Snakes. Thousands of them. You shiver in the cold of your wet, muddy clothes. You feel dizzy. So dizzy. Okay, so here's where we have to make a decision. It seems clear to me that we're going to keep feeling worse in the head the longer we're here. So do we want to try to go back now, or do we want to guess that perhaps the only way to the garden might be getting totally overtaken? It's possible just continuing through the marsh until whatever it is that's going to happen happens is what we're supposed to do. I am sort of curious. I think we're going to continue on. We're in good shape. If something bad happens to us, we can deal with it. Following the water has not been super helpful to us yet. I'm going to just choose a direction at random. Time passes. The path splits 3 ways, each somehow less encouraging than the last. The mud under your feet bubbles furiously. A fetid smell of dead flesh rises up. Down in the mud, sharp pain. A snake slithers away, its killing instincts bigger than its stomach. Ow. Snake's a dick. Let's continue through the marsh. Now I'm poisoned, too, probably. Choose a direction at random. For a moment, you feel as if you have walked in a circle. This is possible. It may also be a trick of the light, or madness. For a moment, you see a ghost flickering between the branches of a tree. Further inspection reveals nothing but a piece of loose paper. You hear music in the distance. The music of Albion. Music of home. You know, honestly, as creepy as this is, and it is, I don't think this is really any worse than the mists around Whorlbury. Alright, well, it's looking to me like we're maybe not going to be able to make any progress here. I think we're going to turn back, now that it doesn't look like we're actually progressing. Oh, wait. The remnants of an old bridge stretch into the mist. Most of it has already been taken by the mud. The mist thickens. Shadows move in the dark. Your name slips from your memory. You reach for it, repeat it, hold it tight. Something looms out of the marsh mist. A siren without a rock, a mournful figure of chipped glass, cracked and shining in the light. She gazes at you with a quiet helplessness, begging you closer. Her lips move, whispering something. You could hear it if you were just a little bit closer. Or we could approach, or we could protest this tiresome cliché. I think that probably Sister Patel is a little tired of the sexy monster cliché, and also a little, to some degree, this is her being afraid of approaching. This lets me be mad and also not get any closer, right? The naked lady sits patiently as you complain about the gender politics of mythology, the unfortunate interplay of sexuality and vice, and the equal insult such things are to the males of the species, treated as unthinking sexual omnivores, and to the females reduced to mere passive decoration for the sake of such a tawdry social gaze. Why, for instance, is the succubus endlessly more represented than the incubus in all the literature? What does it say of the human condition that beauty has been linked to damnation by temptation from the moment of Eve's sin? And from where did the double standards... It is a fine speech, even if, in retrospect, you remember that its only audience was actually a small frog, interested in the flies buzzing around your muddy clothes. Ribbit, it agrees, hopping off into the marsh to carefully ponder things. I like to imagine it said the word ribbit, rather than making a ribbit noise. Okay, well, hey, look at that, we found our way. You take a moment for a breath of air. In another situation, this could be quite pleasant. Specifically a warmer, drier, brighter one, and thinking of it from anywhere else in the universe. Your voice echoes in the perpetual night. Echo, echo, echo. The memory of another world begins to fade. Albion, London, the Reach, stuff of dream. A childish fantasy. See, this is what I was kind of thinking, was that, like, the garden is more of a mental place than a physical place, potentially. Maybe that expectation is just driven by the things that we've been through recently. You emerge from the mud into a leafy green clearing. Sweet smells compete for your attention. Jasmine, alyssum, rose. The garden is a piece of Eden in the grey wastes, green, flourishing, with the sweetness of pollen in the air. A few carnivorous plants take a playful nip as you pass, but none have the reach to snag more than a sleeve. A spring under a looming tree offers ice-cold and clear water. It washes the fog from your mind as it quenches your thirst. After a few minutes watching the bees buzz between the gem-bright flowers, you begin gathering the garden's bounty. Your arms full of picked flowers, you turn back for the port. They will turn a fine profit from the market's incense vendors. 113 sovereigns is all. Maybe there's more that you can do here if you have some idea what you're looking for. Alright, let's go ahead and... Bazaar is not what I want. Then buy up a little bit of fuel and a little bit of supplies, and I guess just head out for the other place. And now that we're out here, we should have a quick chat with the clay conductor. We could just kick him off the train. I could attempt clay singing myself to be his partner. Heard a couple of examples. Maybe I could give it a try. You have not successfully accomplished the singing. Your knowledge of the choirs is limited. And you don't have the honey. Okay, that's interesting. So every time we try this, it's going to cost a moment of inspiration and the honey. I'm assuming we'll do better if we get more knowledge of the clay choirs first. Well, your meeting with Amberly Murgatroyd's assistants was not a success. What's the next move, buddy? The clay conductor is brooding on his bunk. He is holding the urn containing the rubble of his friend. There is no one else like him, the conductor admits. I shall sing no more. He lapses into silence, and will not speak again. Perhaps he's right. Perhaps there is no one who can sing in the way the conductor wishes. But you have heard certain stories. You might just have an idea. You could propose an imaginative solution to his despondency. You may not know someone who can help, but perhaps there is a somewhere. On an old encoded chart, you have seen a place called the Forge of Souls, have I? Well, we do have all of these charts. I guess let's look into it. Together, you pore over the chart and the suppositions of travelers and traders. You find reference to a Forge of Souls, a fabled foundry of the Blue Kingdom, where new people can be made. Your efforts have proved that the person the conductor seeks does not exist. Therefore, it is necessary to invent them. The conductor's eyes shine like lit coals. Yes, Captain. We will go there. We will make a suitable companion. One with a voice to match mine. He does not bother to mention other characteristics. Travel to the Forge of Souls in the Blue Kingdom. Boy, he doesn't ask for much, does he? Since you told him of the Forge of Souls, his opinion of you has soared. He might even like you. Your acquaintance with your first officer is strictly professional at present. Huh. Is this a good idea? Also, is Sister Patel into claymen? This might be a thing that bears a little bit of consideration. You know what? You hang out here on your bunk and think about whether or not you would totally like to bone me, and I'm gonna go talk to somebody else for a little while. Let's see what dear Auntie is up to with her new information. It emerges that your aunt is holding a tea party for those of your crew plagued with bad dreams. You're not invited. It's nothing personal, dear. They just won't feel able to speak freely if their captain can hear. They know they can always trust Auntie to keep a secret. She closes the door. Well, okay then. I mean, her plot needs to move forward. We need savage secrets, and we need them badly. Well, if we can figure out a way to go back to the Reach, we can certainly get a whole lot of them there. Alright, where are we at on everybody else's personal quests? The princess wants to go to a crossroads in Eleutheria. Oh, I guess maybe we could talk to her now, since we're here. The navigator wanted to go to Eagle's Empyrean, I remember that. The repentant devil wants to go to the Well of the Wolf, but we have no idea where that is. Maybe I could ask him. I should probably ask him. Hey, the Well of the Wolf. Where is that exactly? There is a friend, a colleague, from the earliest part of my life. She died, as far as I know, in fighting the devils before the devils went to Caduceus and escaped the judgments. But that was then. If she is less dead now, I would expect to find her at the Well of the Wolf. She always did have a taste for dramatic protests. He looks unapproachably morose for a few minutes, then adds, I have no taste for places that celebrate defeat, but I will go where I must. So we don't know then. That gives us no information at all. He mentions Caduceus, so maybe it's near there? But died in the fighting before the devils went to Caduceus? If she is less dead now, I would expect to find her at the Well of the Wolf. Yeah, I have no idea. There's no information at all. Well, I guess we just keep going near every big storm we find until one of them is the one. So, let's talk to the princess now. Make conversation. Nope, that is not new information. Maybe we just have to get close to whatever place it is she wants us to go to? Seems a little odd that we can't get more information about it than that. Oh, Piranesi. Okay. Well, I have no idea where that is, but we'll find it. So I guess let's move on here. Yeah, let's move on and try to find the other place, Caduceus. It should be sort of nearby, right? Just down here somewhere. Oh, I didn't actually shed the rest of my terror. Ah, well, you know what? Whatever. It's only 5 points. I'm sure that won't come back to bite me in the ass, right? How could it? How could it possibly? Let's get a little bit of a ways away from the town, and we'll start sending the cabbie out again. We should have enough supplies to be pretty aggressive with him. And we cannot squeeze through here. Alright, we'll go around the outside. Maybe this is unwise. The edges of the circle are always a little dangerous. Whoa. Something that-a-way. And this is something ghastly. I agree. Kinda want to get close to it. Miners sometimes brave this thirsting dark in search of sky rocks veined with riches. That's probably not the Well of the Wolf, right? I'm gonna get a little closer. A little closer. I have no ability to interact with it. Extinguishments plague Eleutheria. Eruptions of clotted night. Yeah, okay, we got as close to that as we need to get, I think. Let's see what our scout found us. It would be irresponsible not to go directly to what our scout found for us. And other such reasons to flee desperately from that thing while not looking terrified. It is probably the case that Sister Patel has a real problem with appearing to be scared. I would imagine that's a reflex that you pick up living a tough life, always wanting to appear like you're in control. You can't look dominant if you also look like you might scream at any moment. Scout returns from the wide sky with nothing to report. So it said south-southeast, right? This is the line south. I mean, we have a pretty large area to cover here. But we can't be too far from it. I should pay more attention. Next time we find a new port, I'll get a little achievement progress message. Can't fly over that. And it will tell us, it will tell me how many total ports there are. That's probably information that we ought to have if the game's just going to offer it to us like that. We could gain sovereigns or spend supplies to acquire a caged catch. I don't know that I care about doing this. Let's just get whatever stones we can get out of it. Yeah, 41 sovereigns for basically doing nothing. Fine with me. Something is below us. You can sometimes find hermits in the caves here. We found our way to Kenning Cove. Alright, it's something that way. I don't think that's our dock, probably. But may as well go see what it is. I think that's too close to south to be our dock. You know what? South-southeast does describe that location. Maybe that is it indeed. Yeah, sure. That works. I might expect it to just say south, if it is that close to the line of directly south. Oh, the repentant devil looks nervous. Odysseus. A reunion not to be avoided forever. Well, we've done very well here so far. 7. There are 7 total ports. We've already found 3 of them. A temple at the top of a mountain, reached by a long pilgrim road. Inside it, statues of devils bearing instruments march toward a throne. The smell of roses lingers. The music here is really cool. Alright, let's do a little trading. A frustrated devil waits outside the gates, barred entry by the rosebinders. I miss old London. Your people were so much freer with your souls. I have to bring back something to lure... He stops abruptly. I don't suppose you have 5 jumbles of undistinguished souls, do you? For now I crave quantity over quality. Why, it just so happens I do. The Thorn Maiden accepts your offering and tells you where to place them. Silver mirrors surround the hoard, multiplying your reflections into infinity. Some of your reflections are slower to react than others. Creepy. Also, rolls of thirsty bombazine. I see no reason not to take these on board at this price. And out of curiosity... Okay, supplies but no fuel. Alright, let's have a look around the Dome of the Rose. A temple, garlanded with incarnadine flowers and wreathed with thorns, sits at the apex of Caduceus. It is drowsy with the scent of roses, though you can see none. Poets, artists, and musicians lounge in groups on the marble floor. A woman, crowned in thorns, sits on a white throne. She drums her fingers on her arm. Let us investigate the temple. I need to know what this place is, probably, before I can write a port report for it. Marble statues of devils line the aisles. They have wreaths over their horns. Their lips are daubed scarlet as sin. Their eyes are the colors of ash and sunlight. The detail is breathtaking. Their lyres and lutes, flutes and fiddles, drums and dulcimers are so perfectly carved that, but for the material, they could be real. Frescoes depict a troupe of musicians marching toward a slender mirror. Pipers, flautists, drummers all. Statues of serpents coil over the musicians. Thorn bushes, bereft of roses, encircle the chamber. Plants are tended by devils in crimson masks. These devils are the rosebinders of Caduceus. Within the space bounded by the bushes, the Bohemians make their art, all of it on the subject of roses. That's pretty weird. That's a weird thing to be happening. Well, I guess we should talk to the Thorn Maiden, since we're here and can. I am neither cold nor lightless. That's what people have always said to me. Her crown is thorned, her stave coiled with snakes. Her eyes are quiet as an ox's. As you approach, she raises a hand, bedecked with rings of white sapphires. Whether she is bidding you approach or refrain is unclear. The Thorn Maiden considers you, then approximates a smile. Her fingers still tap against the marble arm of her throne, in time with the drum from below. "How may I serve?" she asks. Her voice resonates like beaten bronze. I don't know. How are you doing?" Is she bored? Her eyes widen. Is it obvious? Her tone doesn't change. The waiting between rites becomes more intolerable. All these people, she gestures, her bracelets are set jangling, venerating me, but all they care for are the roses. I am a link in the chain, not the pearl in the crown. She sighs and looks away. I have questions about the roses. Can I ask about that? I cannot. Alright, well, let's ask just about the place in general. Maybe she'll Tell us something we can use. Her voice is without any affect. The intonation is hollow. I found Caduceus not long after I arrived in Eleutheria. I was frustrated with the methodologies of Winter's Reside. Where was the poetry? Where the beauty in all the horror? Her fingertips dance as she speaks. The devils were here before me. They were wearing those masks when I arrived. This temple was once something else, something important to them. They reclaimed it, though, for a new purpose. She trails off, having lost interest in your inquiry. Okay, well, she's not going to be any help. I guess we'll have to keep looking around ourselves. Beneath the temple, the mountain on which Caduceus rests is tunneled through with caves. A drumbeat, slow but steady, sounds from below. Sure, I guess we'll look down there. Probably I won't die. Underneath the dome of Caduceus is a warren of caverns. A labyrinth of caves, walled with slabs of volcanic black glass, burrow their way through the rock. A steady drumbeat thrums through the walls, echoing from somewhere deeper. Two rose-binders, a devil and a deviless, wait in the main cavern, their eyes like coals in the dark. The deviless beckons you to follow her. Okay, while I know that this might sound like a really stupid thing to say, but so far, devils and devilesses have been nothing but useful to us. Probably we can trust this one. You are led down darkly gleaming passages, heading deeper under the main temple of Caduceus. The devil walks at your side. He occasionally uses his thyrsus to strike the ground, as if testing the depth of your descent. You emerge into a cavern lit by moonish light pouring through a crack in the roof. A broken temple stands before a pool of dark water. The deviless bids you to kneel by the pool and drink. The water is clear, reflecting only the pale rays of light and the thorned masks of the rose-binders. Yeah, alright, I'll drink. What would be the point of just poisoning every new traveler to arrive here? How would that be valuable to them? Basically, like, we have to figure out, do we think that would be valuable to them? To figure out how risky it is, whether or not we are likely being poisoned here. I am choosing to drink. I think it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to poison us. As you kneel, the deviless places a red cloth around your eyes. The devil touches your forehead with the thyrsus, and he pushes you toward the water. You feel the water lapping against your chin, your mouth, your tongue. It tastes rich as wine, velvet, smooth and wild. The drumbeat here, with your ear pressed against the rock, is louder. It grows louder still, insistent and incessant. The cavern vibrates with it. The deviless pulls you from the water. The drummer deems you worthy. She smiles, bright as a new moon. You may participate in the mysteries of our arboretum. Well, okay, mysteries are good, right? This place is all about mysteries. Alright, let's follow the beating of the drums. The sound is steady, like the pulsing of a heart. Following the sound leads you in what feels like circles. You travel between cave after cave, the tunnels narrowing like a throat as you go deeper. The drums sound on, a steady funerary beat. You are forced to cleave to a wall, slick with dripping condensation, for the tunnel here has the width of a wicked king's spine. As you do, the drums cease for a moment, and you hear a sound like a finger tapping on glass. When you emerge from the thin cave, you find yourself in the large, wide cavern where you began. Huh. That's very strange. Also, do you reckon that a wicked king's spine is wider or narrower than a normal king's spine? Intuitively, I would say that it's probably more like bent, but I don't know if I think it's narrower. Okay, well, following the beating of the drums certainly didn't help. I'm going to click on this and see if it's just the same text. Yeah, okay, no big surprise there. You hear a sound like a finger tapping on glass. Wish we had the option to, look around a little bit more thoroughly at that moment. Back to the marble and the frescoes and the devils in rose masks. Back to the place where the roses do not fall. Alright, would anyone take an interest in this languorous idyll? There are said to be mysteries to Caduceus. I mean, we've seen some weird stuff. Weird enough to write about. An isolated temple approached by a winding pilgrim road. Roses fall about the ruins on the temple approach, but none within the temple walls. Here, devils in rose masks tend flowerless shrubs. We've seen this text. Poets whisper to you of rites performed by the Thorn Maiden, of sunlight somehow brought into Eleutheria, of revels done when the roses fall. Okay, well, that's going to be a weird port report. We could participate in the Rite of the Rose if we had 2 more moments of inspiration. We could talk to the ebullient decadent if we had affiliation Bohemia 3. Boy, our lack of Bohemia affiliation is really kind of kicking us in the ass here. What is our current affiliation? Do we have an easy readout of that? Is that in my personality stuff? Where do we see our current level of affiliations? Here we go. Okay, so right now we have Bohemia 0. The princess will only get us up to 1. Well, I guess let's explore the temple with a little bit more knowledge. See if this helps. Corinthian columns line the processional, though their capitals bear budding roses rather than acanthus leaves. Devils unmasked recur on the frescoes. Only the wall behind the throne has been left without adornment. The temple contains a multitude of shrines, scattered throughout the complex like links on a chain. Each holds a reliquary to a single figure. One is to the fiddler, another to the piper, a third to the drummer, the chorister, and the violist. The rosebinders treat these shrines with a reverence that borders on fear. Okay, we might be wise to do the same then. A temple garlanded with incarnadine flowers and wreathed in thorns. Okay. Let us talk to the Bohemians. Visitors come and go from Caduceus, but all are generally of a similar temperament. A louche youth? Louche? Hey, let's look up that word. I might just be completely unfamiliar with that one. Louche, disreputable or sordid, but in a rakish or appealing way. A louche youth with acres of golden hair invites you into his little company. They sit before the throne, painting roses onto each other's bodies. A rose black as the liberation blooms on his white chest. A pair of twins have daubed a pattern of roses linked like chains. It begins on the right of her neck and ends on the nail of his smallest left toe. An elderly poet, his mustaches ringed with roses, explains that they are merely passing the time. We are somewhat listless between the rites, he explains, when the sunlight pours through and we may taste the rose. Everybody's super weird about roses here. Well, let's keep being attentive. Observe the rosebinders at work. They rarely speak and refuse all assistance. The masked devils menace the greenery encroaching on the temple with severe secateurs. Marble walls crack with creeping vines and tumbling flora. They rip and crush with equanimity. Theirs is an uncompromising battle to prevent the temple's decay. Only the flowerless rose bushes are afforded mercy. These are trimmed and tended, primped and perfumed. As you watch, a deviless calls over a compatriot. They mournfully examine the coils of a bush gone gray. Eventually, and with a great deal of ceremony, they begin to uproot it. So the bushes that don't currently have roses on them, they must bloom at some point, right? It's not that these just don't have flowers. It's that their flowers are currently not blooming. And when they do, probably that will be a meaningful time for the place. And we really need to get either some moments of inspiration, or we need to get in with some Bohemians, I think, before we're going to be able to make anything of this. Alright, well, I feel like we basically have acquired nothing but questions, no answers at all, but sadly, we are out of time for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time, when I suspect we will not find a lot of those answers we're seeking. Not yet, anyway. And we'll see you then.